Welcome to the Encouragement Engineering Podcast. We help people to combat the negativity that inundates their daily lives with a positive perspective and positive action. Today's guest is Ryan Cote. Ryan is the founder of Morning Upgrade, a business dedicated to raising the awareness of personal development and morning routines. Ryan's goal with Morning Upgrade is to create a real impact in the world, essentially raising the awareness of morning routines and personal development. He wants to achieve the creation of a community that helps people build happier, more fulfilled lives while discovering strategies for reaching their goals. Ryan is also the co-owner of Ballantine, his family's marketing agency and roofing company, and he's also a real estate investor. Ryan lives in New Jersey with his wife and 3 daughters. So please welcome to the show, Ryan Cote. Ryan, welcome to the show, and thank you for being here.
Hey, Bob. Yeah, I'm really excited to talk to you.
Thank you. And I was going to say, you got 3 daughters. It's like, wow, okay. You're the only man in the house?
Honestly, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I think that's why I have Morning Upgrade, is to strengthen myself like a warrior going into battle.
There you go. Yeah, I've got 3 boys, so my wife was outnumbered on that.
Yeah.
Well, good for you. Well, why don't we start out by telling the audience something about, how you got to where you are. Tell us about you and what brought you to the Morning Upgrade.
Yeah, so I come from a family of entrepreneurs. Like, Ballantine is a family business. I'm 3rd generation. We're a marketing agency, but we also started a roofing company last year. And so come from a family of entrepreneurs. I've always been around that. I've always had my own side things like eBay businesses, services, e-commerce sites. Just always dabbling into other different types of businesses. I like doing that kind of stuff. It interests me. I've also had a passion with personal development. Started off just reading certain books, and has kind of accumulated to what is now Morning Upgrade, where I'm writing about it. I have my own podcast. I have a book. I've got morning routine cards, and I maybe a mastermind next. I'm not sure, but actually, I'll tell you what's next. I'm starting to interweave the 2 businesses. So, like, Morning Upgrade and Ballantine, sending clients my book, having clients and prospects on the podcast and publishing their episodes first.
Right.
And so I'm really starting to interweave the 2. I feel like it's becoming really interesting, and I just didn't intend for that to happen. I just kind of evolved into that.
And that's a cool thing about personal development, is that's what it does. It bleeds into everything because it's part of you. So you're, sharing that with people, and they start to understand, the ideas behind it and how it helps you. Maybe if you can tell people a little bit about that, how has it helped you?
Personal development in general?
Yeah.
That's a good question. That's a big question too. I think you have to find what keeps you going, and what interests you, and what fulfills you. And for me, it's like that concept of 1% better every day, achievement, trying to achieve things, working towards a goal, working towards growth. I think a lot of us are wired that way, actually.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely wired that way. So I'm in a funk. I'm in a bad mood when I'm having a day where I feel like nothing's happening. I'm not getting anything done. I'm not working on anything that excites me. And so, personal development just feeds that side of me. And then obviously Morning Upgrade, that's my impact project. That obviously, I take something from it too. Like, it holds me accountable. I get to speak to great guests on my podcast. I learn new things. I have to just, to produce the content, I need to be introducing myself to new content as well.
Yeah.
And so it makes me feel alive, I guess, and, I feel like the investment in yourself is the best investment you can make.
Yeah.
And not that things are perfect, but, it's a journey, and I like the journey. It just fuels me. I don't know. I've always been that way, and now it's even more so.
Well, if you can tell us, I know what's your morning routine? Tell us about what you do in the morning and so forth, and what your Morning Upgrade, is about. I know you mentioned there's movement, mindset, relationship, and progress. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So I started doing morning routines back in 2017. I was going through some things in the business and personally too, that just were really weighing on me. For example, losing major clients, like top 5 clients all in a row, like not in a row, but very quickly, like within a 6-month period. It's like, whoa, what is going on here right now? And so taking a step back and trying to figure out what's going on. And I, like I said, I was already into personal development at that point, but I wasn't like that into it. And so I realized I need to do things differently and work on myself. And the morning routine was a big part of that. And so I, by chance, whatever you want to call it, I happened upon Hal Elrod at the Miracle Morning on a podcast. And I was like, getting up early to do those things. Didn't know that was a thing. I should try it. And then that just, here we are like 5 years later and doing everything I'm doing with Morning Upgrade. It's funny the journey where it takes you if you just keep down the path,
Yeah.
So my morning routine, to answer your question, it's evolved. It started off with Miracle Morning, and then I just evolved it over the years, doing things that speak to me. And I've condensed it into a 20 to 30 minute routine. That way I have no excuses.
Right.
And I've got my cards here. I'm a customer of my cards, but you don't have to use them. You can use a journal and a notepad or whatever. And so I just ask some questions. I ask myself, what's my number one priority or 2 or 3 priorities for the day? I ask myself, what am I grateful for? And I write it down like pen to paper. That's what I prefer.
Yeah.
No app, though there are some apps out there. I just prefer pen to paper. So what am I grateful for? What is my biggest win from yesterday? Okay, celebrating the win from yesterday.
Yeah.
Makes me think about the day. So that's good. Who am I going to reach out to today? Is it a client? Is it a friend? Is it a family member? Who am I going to reach out to today? And there's a spot for journaling. So after I write down my affirmations. I just write down my thoughts for a few minutes. And then I meditate for 5 or 6 minutes using Get Guided Meditations on Insight Timer. It's a free app.
Yeah.
So I guess I am on my phone for that part, but
yeah.
I like it. I like the app. So 5 to 6 minutes meditation, 5 to 6 minutes of exercise. Usually that's burpees, shadow boxing with hand weights, things like that. Get my blood flowing.
Yes, definitely. Well, burpees will do that for you.
Yeah, especially when you put the push-up in there.
Yes,
it's really brutal. There was a record. I forget what the record is for burpees, but it is such an obscene amount that I don't think the man is human. I just don't understand how it's possible, but it is because he did it. And then I read for a few minutes. Right now, I'm reading the Everyday Hero Manifesto by Ramen Sharma, which is excellent. Mm-hmm. And I'm reading a few pages a day.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So definitely what I like is for those listening, it's short. It's 20 to 30 minutes. It's not a whole lot of time in your day. It's, pretty much the routine that you're doing. And as you get to it, it's consistent. And I think that's half the battle is that consistency. I understand that value of, the morning. I get up at 4:30 and I take my time at similar type of things. I'm doing my push-ups in the morning. I've got Bible passages that I read, focus on what I've got to do. What I like too is yours integrates the writing because that's a 3-part way of learning. So you get kinesthetic audio, you're like talking to yourself as you're writing possibly, then you're rereading it as you're writing, make sure it's written right. So you repeat that and that helps to, good things to start your day off with is a great way to start the day.
It is. Once you start down the path, for me, it's a non-negotiable. It's my pillar habit. And one thing I didn't mention, Bob, as part of my morning routine too, it doesn't add any extra time on it because I'm sitting at my desk doing this like I'm sitting here talking to you, writing on my cards. let me just lean over. Since this is a video podcast, I want to show it. I'm going to sound like a crazy person, but I think it's really a neat product. It's the Happy Light. I'm not like affiliated with it. I just use it. It's the Happy Light. It's like UV therapy where you put the light on and you shine it on your face especially for the winter months when there's less sun. Yeah. This is it's good for just waking you up and like healthy UV rays. And so I've added that to my morning routine. So as I'm going through the cards and reading, I got the light shining on my face like a crazy person, but it's really neat.
Well, and like you said, in the winter, I live in Florida, so I got out of that mess called winter, but I can go outside and enjoy that, but it is, you got to be careful. I mean, with my complexion, I don't get a golden dark tan. If I do, I'm probably dead, but, I've got to be careful of that too. And that's a great way to bring that light in the darker months, if you will. That causes a lot of people don't realize cabin fever is a real thing. It's you start to feel that up north in February. You're like, let me get out of this house for a while. I definitely understand that. So that's a great point you bring up, is something else to bring that brightness, if you will, literally into your life.
Yeah, I think that the lesson, if you zoom out a little bit, is also when you have your habits and your routines, like your morning routine, how can you stack things onto it that's not going to add more time, or maybe it adds just a couple of minutes? Like reading the Robin Sharma book, I wasn't reading before. I read later in the day, which sometimes I still do. But I was like, well, maybe I can just add 2 or 3 pages to the morning routine. It's only going to add a couple minutes.
Right.
Maybe I can add the light. It's not going to add any time. I'm already sitting at my desk, so I can just have it. So I always look for ways to just kind of tweak and turn the dial of what I'm doing to see if I can maximize the effort.
And what's nice too, that light, you don't have to turn on a whole room light. It's at your desk, like you said. So it's a smaller encapsulation of a light. So great ideas. Well, it sounds like gratitude plays a big part in starting your day. Would you say that would be the case?
Yeah, honestly, it's a big part. I have to remind myself what I'm grateful for, and after a while, you have to remind yourself less because it just becomes more of a natural process of seeing the positive. It does work if you give it enough time. I've even got it going on with my daughters now too, where before they go to bed, I have them give me one thing they're grateful for, and they're still at an age where they'll roll with the punches and go for it.
Yeah.
But it's funny though. I was picking up my middle daughter from soccer yesterday, so this was 6:30, and she got in the car, and so we're driving away, and I said, Juliana, what was one good thing that happened to you today? And she's like, we do that at bedtime, Dad, not right now. I was like, okay, fair enough. We'll wait then.
That's funny. They get in the routine, but that helps cement that idea of being grateful. You're thankful for what you accomplished previous day. You're grateful for what you have. I know I do that too. As soon as that alarm goes off, I get up and I just say a little prayer. Thank you for today. Thank you that I have that, because there's people that don't have that option of waking up in the morning, and I got that, and I'm thankful for that. I just pray that the boys will be fine and that they'll be good. And then I start, I get out of bed, hit the routine and get going. So it's a great way to cement the foundation for your day. Think of it like I look at it as building a building. You want that strong foundation, and gratitude and appreciation and thankfulness is a good way to start it.
It's also, I think it's almost also, to me, it's like working out your mind and sort of like you're equipping yourself to handle the challenges, because you get an email from a client that doesn't make you happy. You get just things going on, and so those things can affect you very easily if you let them. And so the celebrating the wins and the gratitude practice and the meditation, it makes it easier to handle those things. Not that they're easy. Have something happening today with a client that's not making me happy, but it's not affecting me like it used to. I was like, all right, we'll just deal with it, move on. And so to me, that's what a lot of what gratitude practice does for you.
And that's a good reminder for people too. This won't happen overnight. I often tell people that about, encouragement, positivity. It's not something that you can just snap your fingers and start and it'll change, but it does take time. But like you said, all of us go through the scenario. We start our day out with positive thoughts, positive actions, and one phone call, it can all go awry. And it does happen. It happens to us all. But how do we respond to that? Like you said, this helps build that so that it's easier to handle those adversities. So thank you for that.
I've got a story, a quick story. Sure. I could tell on that, like trying to just change your mind, try and change your state. This was back 2019 when we were in the office. Now we are all remote, but we had an actual office. And I remember, so you mentioned in my bio, real estate investors. So my wife and I have some investment condos, Charlotte and New Jersey. And so one of our Charlotte places was vacant for a couple months, which is not great. You don't want vacancies because you're paying the mortgage with no income coming in. And so I'm sitting in a business meeting. There was like maybe 5 or 6 of us in the meeting talking through things. And I got a call on my cell phone, and it was the real estate agent. And so I thought they had good news, like they found a tenant. And so I excused myself from the meeting because I didn't want to miss the phone call, stepped into the hallway, and she's like, so I've got some news. There was a small leak in the condo that we didn't notice, and the ceiling just collapsed into the first floor.
Wow.
And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I was like silent for 30 seconds. She's like, hello. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, I'm just processing that. I was expecting the call to go differently in my head when I answered. And so then I had to go back into that meeting. And I remember just like taking a deep breath and just closing my eyes and just reminding myself that be present where you're at now and you'll deal with this later. And my mind, of course, was thinking about it. It wasn't perfect, but I was
Yeah.
able to get myself into the state where I could go back into that meeting and act somewhat normal. And that's
Yeah.
what all this stuff helps you do.
Yeah. And that's key. That's a great example because, yeah, and especially with that one, because if you're in Jersey and that's happening in Charlotte, it's not like you're going to be able to get there.
That's a good
So,
point.
somebody's going to have to take care of that for us. That's why we have people that, monitor those type of things and help get them fixed. So, great example with that. What are do you have some other go-to strategy, personal growth strategies that maybe people can look at?
Yeah, one that your audience might not. I mean, they're getting more and more popular now, so maybe this isn't anything new, but I'm sure it's new for some people listening. It's the concept of masterminds. I'm in 3 of them right now.
Oh,
You could argue that's too many, and I need like 2, but I'm in 3 right now. And a mastermind is a collection of people that have a common goal, and so you meet once a week or twice a month or whatever the cadence is that the group sets, and you bring your challenges to them, they help you, they bring your challenges to them and you help them. And it's like, you always come with a full cup, and it pushes you out of your comfort zone because you have to, at least for me, it was very like to be vulnerable and to try to help someone. Cause like, at least in my head, I was like, well, what do you know to help them? Like you become like, it's like the imposter syndrome, and you quickly get over that when you realize you're being silly, and so the concept of masterminds has been really key, just relationship building, pouring into people, then pouring into you, working through challenges together. It could be like, I've got some groups that are very personal and professional. I have one group that's just professional and one group that's just personal. So you have like a choice, a mix of different things. And so it's been really key. And I think that's, if you can find a good mastermind group, it can be very life-changing.
Yeah. Well, Napoleon Hill talked about it in Think and Grow Rich in 1937. Right. So, the concept's been around a while. So I think it works.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I think it works. So, and Andrew Carnegie and all them believed in that. So I think they did all right. Now, with the morning routine, it starts your day, but what are some things that we talked about this a little bit, that we talk about what it can do, but what are some things you can recommend when your day goes off the rails? How can it help steer back to that?
Yeah, good question. So what do I do? I mean, I think, I'll sometimes use journaling. If things really bother me, I'll just get pen to paper and start journaling my thoughts out. Going for a walk, honestly, that's been, I mean, I didn't start doing that until COVID. When we were trapped here, I would go for walks. Yeah. And I was like, this is kind of nice, just going for a walk with the nature and the birds, and listening to audio, like podcasts, like inspiring content as you're walking. It's very therapeutic. I'll go on walks with my wife.
Right.
And so, yeah, I would say going for walks for sure. Any type of physical movement always helps. I think that's like no secret at this point. And then just, gratitude practice, journaling. Sometimes if I'm having a really bad day, honestly, I'll just go to bed early. I'll go to bed early and wake up refreshed, and all of a sudden, like, I feel a lot better.
Right.
And so prioritizing sleep on those days where things aren't just going your way.
Yeah, that we tend to forget about sleep, but our body definitely needs it. you do, when things go awry like that, you'll stress your body out. You'll feel it, your head and your body, and everything aches sometimes. So yeah, that rest is critical to rejuvenate and restore yourself with a positive idea, positive attitude, and feeling better. Just knowing. I think after the rest, I look at it this way: is okay, I've got a clean slate now, and think of a chalkboard or a whiteboard if you want. Everything's been erased. You can kind of start over. Yes, there's maybe some lingering things that you see on the board, but for the most part, you have a pretty clean slate that you can keep going with.
Yeah, I track my sleep and some other metrics with this Whoop app.
Okay.
And they give you scores like red, yellow, green. It's amazing. Like when my scores are green, I'm like ready to go, ready to tackle the day. Or if I had bad sleep and I'm in red, I feel it. It's amazing what a good night's sleep can do for you.
Yeah, and it's, people often say that with the sleep apnea machines and CPAPs and so forth, that after they get that, they feel so rejuvenated and so energized. Well, that's because there's a lot more oxygen able to get to your body because it's working right. It's producing everything right. So that's that same effect. So yeah, definitely we need that rest. That's important to have that. How do you feel, or how do you feed your happiness?
How do I feed my happiness? I am, so this has been changing for me. I think that's just normal at different seasons of life,
Yeah.
uh, certain things make you happy in those seasons. So for me, it's like morning upgrade, honestly, just starting
Mhm.
that. I started that 2 years ago and I've been evolving it. And it has fed my happiness because I get to have great conversations. I feel like I'm doing something that's going to help the world a little bit. And
Right.
so that feels good. So I think the morning upgrade, that project for me, that business has definitely fed my happiness. Uh, for relationships have been, they've always been important to me, but they're really key now. Like, I'm always in a good mood when my wife and I go out with friends,
Mhm.
and so we come back, have some laughs, and that those relationships, like the human to human connection, like in person, that
Right.
really feeds my happiness. Um, Obviously my kids and all that, but that's like the obvious answer. I feel like I need to say that, but it's true.
Oh, come on. You got
Uh,
to make sure you say it, right?
for the most part, it's true.
Yeah.
Uh, but I think that's, I guess the last thing I'll say is just, being productive, working on my goals, showing up to my masterminds every day, which then that kind of feeds into the achievement and
Right.
the productivity. Those things make me happy too. So I would say productivity, slash achievement, working on morning upgrade because I feel like I have a purpose there. There's definitely a purpose. And then relationships, and exercise. I guess I'll add it fourth.
Yeah. Yeah. We got to be here to be able to do all these things we want to do, right? You know, exercise helps you to stay here, so, and it keeps your health up. And that's good to know too, because how it's a big circle. And I find that interesting that seems to, bring everything together. You said over COVID, we've all learned the value of a interpersonal relationship.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know it's been hard for many people if they're at home
Mm.
with kids teaching, trying to do work, and the appreciation for teachers also, I think, went up.
Oh
And the
yeah.
value they have, because it is hard work and it's a lot of work. I know we helped my niece out. We watched my niece's daughter at the beginning of COVID, and she was doing homework sometimes till 6 p.m. at night, 7 p.m.
Mm.
I'm like, and
Wow.
she was in fourth grade. I'm like, really? This is crazy. But,
It's amazing how we can adapt to such a dramatic change. Like, I remember, I didn't have this home office here. This used to be my kids' playroom, but with COVID, we changed it to my office. And so for a while, I was working in our basement. It's a finished basement. There's a table there,
yeah,
sitting in a dark basement doing work, and with the hardwoods above us.
yeah.
And I remember I became like a master at the mute button. So I'd
Yes.
be doing a presentation, and I would hear noise start. Then I'd mute myself, wait for it to go away, unmute.
Yeah.
Eventually, I found noise cancellation apps, but for a while, I was like the master at the mute button.
Yeah. Yeah. With hardwood floors, people love them, but man, you get a lot of kids and they make a lot of noise.
Yeah. Yes.
And we had an older house like that with three boys, and they bring over their friends and up and down the stairs. It's like there is no insulation between these floors. That's something. Well, another question I have is, you mentioned about your book, and it offers areas of like input and what you put into it, your writing and so forth. Tell us more about your book and how that's helpful to people. I appreciate the idea of writing things down and journaling. I mean, that's a great concept for that additional learning. But so tell us more about your book.
Yeah, the book is called The Entrepreneur's Secret Weapon: How to Use Personal Development to Upgrade Your Life and Business. And it's a short book, 112 pages. I wrote it because I felt like it was a natural extension of the Morning Upgrade brand. I feel like I needed to collect my thoughts of what I've consumed and learned and what I practice and put it into a book. I didn't have the intention of giving it to clients, so that came naturally next. So now I use it as a gift to clients and to
Mhm.
prospects. But I wrote the book because I wanted to have like a small little handbook of things that I found to be helpful. And so
Right.
we'll cover like exercise. Not that I'm an exercise guru by any means, but I have been doing it for a big chunk of my life, and so I learned a lot. We talk about morning routines, of course, mindset, injecting personal development into your workplace, into your company.
Right.
The book is for entrepreneurs. I mean, it's applicable to any person except for the one chapter about injecting personal development into your workplace. And then there's a chapter about injecting personal development into your kids' routine. I talked about the gratitude practice at night, books that you read to them, helping them eliminate negative self-talk. And so really it's just like a small little handbook of all these different strategies that an entrepreneur can use to make themselves stronger, more fulfilled, and then hence upgrade their life and business.
And that's I love the idea that you integrate that idea of personal development into the business, because people think the two should be separate. They're not. We're people, and we cross paths, and this is part of me. And I do something similar where I'll send out daily encouragements in the morning, 7 o'clock every morning. I send it out to a bunch of teammates, and just, daily encouragement. It's simple, 2 quotes, just something to get their day started in a positive direction. And, it's part of who I am. And so they know, when they see that, they either throw it in the trash, I don't know, but or they know, okay, it's Bob. Yeah, this is kind of funny. This is cool. This is fun. So it's definitely a plus to be able to share that with people, because it helps so much. People say positivity and encouragement can be such Pollyanna, but it's not. It really does work. And, like you said, your morning upgrade, your morning routines, there's proof that works. And that's a big plus for a lot of people, that they seem to forget how well that works.
Yeah, I mean, it's not until you try it, it's hard to I guess understand why would waking up early help me if you've never done it before, of course. But if you think about it logically, 2 choices: hit the snooze a couple of times, and finally just, all right, I'll get out of bed.
Yeah.
Not the greatest mindset, and I've done that plenty of times in the past. And then the other option is waking up 30 minutes early or whatever, and investing in yourself with various things. Logically, it's like makes sense why that would be a better choice than snoozing, and then finally forcing yourself to get out of bed.
Yeah. It's that delay really causes a lot more headache and pain than you think. And people think, oh, just a few more minutes. Really? You're already awake. I mean, come on.
But one thing you mentioned with, so in terms of like the workplace, one thing that I do that is helpful, so I'll share it with your audience, is, well, 2 things actually. And I had it today, is we do a book club every Friday. We read a book, not that the whole company participates, only like a third participates. That's fine. Sometimes it's half, sometimes it's a third. It's up to them. But we only read personal development books. Like right now, we're reading a book called Sustainable Excellence by this guy, Terry Tucker, who had on my podcast. I was really impressed with him. He has a book. And so I said, let's read that one. And so it has to be a short book. We're not going to slog through a 500 pager. And then it has to be a personal development book, personal growth related. And so first book we read, well, not the first book, but the last 2 books was Who Moved My Cheese?
It's a good
which
one.
is a classic.
Yeah.
And then now we're reading Sustainable Excellence. So I do that, and that seems to help. And then I do a Sunday digest. So every Sunday I write an email to my team, and it's just, 5 key points I want to share with them: company news, personal development strategies, book recommendations, movie recommendations, whatever the case is, it varies, but 5 key points I want to share with them. And there's always 1 or 2 personal development things in there, because they know how I am. And so that's another way, kind of sneak it in there, whether or not they listen to it or read it, it's fine. But I know some are.
Yeah. Well, and it's like you said, it's with your marketing background, that's kind of key, is that, if you will, that drip effect. Eventually it's going to stick to a few people, and those that it may stick to may surprise you. So you never know who it's going to affect. I often tell groups that I talk to, it's like, remember those things called manners? Those are big, helpful things in our society. And so many times we forget those, or we don't have them, or we're not teaching that next generation. And they're so helpful. It's a simple thing like that that can really help people. So
yeah, great.
Kudos to you for that. Well, Ryan, where can people find out more about you, your website, and how to get a hold of you?
I'll give you 2 websites. I got the Morning Upgrade it's very simple, easy to pronounce, and easy to spell. It's morningupgrade.com. Okay. And the marketing agency is Ballantine.com.
Great. Okay. And they can get all their information, book, and everything like that from those sites?
Yeah. So morningupgrade.com has the podcast. It has the blogs that we send out every week or 2. It has the book, link to the book, a link to my morning routine cards, information about myself. And, I've got a contact form. Anyone reaching out to me, I will respond back. And then, Ballantine is the marketing services. I'm on LinkedIn too. So pretty easy to find.
Great. And we'll make sure we put that all in the show notes so people have that. Ryan, I want to thank you for taking the time today to be a guest on the Encouragement Engineering podcast. I really appreciate it. I appreciate, the light you're shining in our world. It's a great thing. Keep it up, continue your great work, and continue encouraging people with that. The mornings, I love the mornings. I'm with you. I'm the early bird. I'm up getting things done early before most people know they're broke, but it's, you can get a lot done. So thank you for what you do.
Yeah. Thanks, Bob, for likewise to you. And thanks for having me on. This is really fun.
Good. Well, thank you. You have a great day.
You too.